Hello and welcome back to day 22 of Advent of Tess. Today we're going to be folding this tessellation that I call Tight Flower. This tessellation has closed triangles, closed hexagon, open rhombi, which you might recognize as two open triangles, just like I said we would do yesterday. And it has closed triangle twists on the backside. Now, what's unique about this tessellation in Advent of Tess is that these triangles cannot function as positions of threefold rotational symmetry. We must do an expanded repeat where we're offsetting whole clusters of this start instead of having the rhombi in twofold positions and the triangles in threefold positions. So that's one uniqueness here. And let's go ahead and dive on in. I'm going to start with the closed hexagon in the center. Bringing up pleat by pleat. And working all the way around, doing both the mountain and the valley at the same time so I don't lose the mountain. Working everything down to a flat surface before I grab and twist my central twist. Now it doesn't look very clean yet, and that's because I need to go through and make sure that everything that's supposed to be on a valley fold is actually on a valley fold. It looks like they are, and I can double check this by flipping over to the back and checking that that hole there is clean. Then flipping back to the front, we're going to go around just like we did for the closed and open triangle stars gapped tessellations, where we will fold our hexagon in half to set up our new twist just outside. And instead of doing a closed triangle or an open triangle, we're going to go for the open rhombus. So the open rhombus here, again, we've got that single wide spacing. We're going for the anvil shape where we have our two grid lines before the densely parallel pleats meet the other pleat from the center. We've got 2 points that look like an open hexagon star. We've got those same 2 points on the other side, and we've got those 2 spaces again, just like we had on the bottom. And I'll go ahead and squash this twist. Then when I open the hexagon back up, I'm going to rotate. So I'm going to be dealing with that pleat that was just folded over. Fold over the next one. Set up just like I did for the open triangles. So I've got that same pleat at the same spacing. And I need to have a pleat running in the same grid direction, 2 spacings up, running back towards my existing rhombus. And this is going to run into a pleat from the old rhombus, which we will pop into a wrap and set up our remaining pleat for our new rhombus. So that wrap is right on the corner of the new rhombus. We end up with an accordion afterwards. And so once we've got that, we can go ahead and squash. Now you're seeing why I emphasize the triangle wraps in days 2 and 3, so they would be more familiar now when we're doing things densely and in different arrangements. So then I'm letting the hexagon open back up, taking the next pleat to fold the hexagon in half. Again, setting up that spacing 1 denser than tube, then going up 2 spacings. So I get the top and bottom of the anvil. My mountain is running out this way, and it has a valley next to it. And that valley runs and it meets another valley that is already in place that will stay completely folded. So it runs and it meets that valley, and it goes off in a third direction, like all the rest of our triangle wraps do. So unfolded, it looks kind of like this, and then folded, it looks like this. Then we can close our anvil and squash our open rhombus. Opening up, I'm going to fold the next pleat around the hexagon, setting up in exactly the same way. I've got that wrap again, and it's making these accordion pleats under the previous rhombus. And open. And then I go to open the next pleat, but it's blocked by a pleat overlap. Can't open. So I'm going to open the overlap, flip the pleat, then let the new pleat, or the newer pleat, run through again. So again, that move was, I have an overlap, I open the old pleat, or sorry, I open the most recent pleat, I flip the pleat to put the hexagon in half, and I close it back up. Then I'll set up my new rhombus, and just like I have the previous ones, and squash it. And now I've got just one rhombus to go. So in order to open this pleat from the hexagon again, I'm going to need to do that same maneuver, except this time I've got a new pleat from my new rhombus that I'll need to open first. So I can open the pleat in the old from the hexagon, and then instead of running it through again, I'm going to back it up and pivot my hexagon just like we did with yesterday's tessellation with the open triangle linked flowers, so that I can run my new valley's 1 spacing from the corner of the hexagon. Mountain is 1 spacing more. And that valley is going to run until it meets the existing valley along this pleat from the rhombus. And as they do, they're going to create a 3-way intersection of valleys, which necessarily has a 3-way intersection of mountains above it. And when I put those in place, I get the conditions for the wrap. So I'm going to keep this pleat kind of peeled up so I can put in the rest of my rhombus twist. Lay everything down flat and squash so the corner of this rhombus goes under the pleat that's been lifted up. And squash everything. Once everything's squashed, I can open my hexagon back out. And then I'll flip my paper over, and all of these triangle wraps are exactly the same. And what I'm going to do is take that flap, open it up, and put in a closed triangle twist on every single one of them. So if I've stuck to schedule, there will be a video on my YouTube page on how to repeat tessellations in the style that this one needs to be repeated, that the other hexagon, rhombus, triangle, rhombus tessellations can be repeated in. But with this one, it's a necessity because the triangle cannot be a position of threefold rotational symmetry. And we can see that even from right here, because this is a tube, but on this side, there's only a single wide. And that is not the same. This is not the same as that. So there can't be a threefold rotationally symmetric position here. So once we've got all of our triangles squashed and in place, that is the completion of tight flowers. I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll be returning to the hexagon, triangle, rhombus, triangle tiling tomorrow and the next day before we finish up with day 25, Christmas Day. So happy folding, and I'll see you all tomorrow.